Tonight our first story takes place at NYU, where they were having what started out as a peaceful protest and turned into, well, just check it out. We'll talk about it.
Tense and very confrontational here. You can see there members of the NYPD are confronting these anti-Israel protesters. Viewer discretion is advised. This is live. Let's keep listening. So we do apologize. There is some vulgarity here. You are watching right now some of these protests against the war in Gaza, and some of them are turning violent. You can see right there. All right, we're going to keep with this. Viewer discretion is advised. Nighttime has now fallen there. In New York City, we have been over similar protests like this all throughout the weekend, all throughout the day today. On campuses like Columbia University, uptown. NYU is further downtown there. Also at Yale University, the University of Michigan, Harvard University. Many of the Ivy League schools have seen similar protest movements in the wake of October 7th, though as of late, they have taken an anti-Semitic turn, and that's what you have seen throughout the course of the weekend here. You see many of these NYPD officers clashing there with these student demonstrators. Let's keep listening. Viewer discretion is advised.
So I didn't show you all the whole clip. It would take all night if I showed you the entire clip. Just wanted to give you a little idea of what's been going on there. And they said that mostly this has been going on at Ivy League schools, high dollar schools, good education schools. People that come out of these schools make big money. A lot of them are lawyers, turn into lawyers, doctors, things of that nature. And they wouldn't be getting those opportunities, I don't believe, back home. Some of these protesters are groupies. It's plainly obvious to see. A lot of these people that are being arrested are not of any other origin other than American. The people that are Palestinian, the true Palestinians, they might have family back home. I could understand, I could somewhat sympathize with that, but what good does it do to come over to the United States, get these opportunities, go to these nice schools, and then if you want a peaceful, have a peaceful protest, so be it. Nobody's going to be watching you but the cops. And what's the point of fighting with the cops? Now you're going to develop a criminal record on you as you're trying to become a lawyer or a doctor. And that criminal record is going to be following you for a good long time, and perhaps in some cases for the rest of your life, because you want to make your voice heard. There's other ways to do that other than go and fight with the police. And a little bit later on, I didn't even watch the whole clip. I just watched a little further than what I showed you all, and there was people throwing chairs at the cops, fighting with them, things like that. And what good is that doing you? It's just going to get you arrested. It's not doing anything else but getting you arrested, getting you in trouble. My guess is that these people, these students, are here in our country because of the opportunities that lie here, especially for the females. We all know that those females would not have the same opportunities back home. And it makes sense why they would come here, right? We're the land of opportunity. Come here and you could do anything and be anything, right? But for the males, I would suggest if you want to make the biggest difference, it's not going to be yelling at the cops. It's going to be to go back home and join your military and fight with everything you got for what you believe in. These are young, college-age students. They are, I'm sure, within the age range to join their military if they want to. Go back home and join your military. But you're fighting the wrong fight, and you're fighting with the wrong people. America is going to do what America believes is best for America. That just happens to be the country that you live in. Your home country is going to do what they feel is best for them. The U.S. is not the one we're not the ones who started the war. You're fighting with American cops. Wrong fight. Wrong fight. They made several arrests. People fighting with the cops and, all kinds of mess. But that's my number one suggestion to the males is go back home, join your military. If you feel that strongly about this, perhaps you do have family back home, then go join the good fight. But the good fight ain't over here. And you know that because you're going to these very privileged schools. That clip was from NYU, but like they said, and I know because I've checked myself, that mainly this is going on at the Ivy League schools. So these are people getting ready to be doctors and lawyers and make a wonderful life for themselves. So if y'all want to go and screw that up by throwing shit at the cops, then you go ahead and do that. And we'll see what happens on the other end. You're going to mess your life up over here and end up having to go back home anyway. Unbelievable. I'm sure I'm missing a couple strong points on this, but I think you all get the point. You all are, these are like 20-something-year-old kids, maybe some of them younger than that. Some of them don't have anything to do with this at all. They're a groupie. They came out for the fun. They came out to, catch what they could on their phone and entertain themselves, see what happens. I guess they don't have anything better to do. That's pretty sad too. Need to go find something to do. It's springtime. The weather's starting to get nice. I'm sure you could find something better to do than be a groupie at a protest that ends up turning violent, and then you end up possibly getting arrested, all for what? To get a few seconds of footage on your phone? I mean, come on, people. This is ridiculous. Moving on to our last story. Tonight's going to be a pretty short night. Go ahead and check this out.
Now the center of a case with national implications.
Counsel, what will the city do if you don't prevail here?
The city's hands will be tied. It will be forced to surrender its public spaces as it has been.
The Oregon City is seeking to overturn a 9th District Circuit ruling which blocked the city from fining people who sleep or camp in public spaces, with the defendants citing the 8th Amendment's protection against cruel and unusual punishment. But Seattle, the other major cities, and California's Governor Gavin Newsom have all filed briefs backing a change from the high court, saying that they need flexibility to swiftly address threats to health and safety. But Justice Elena Kagan seemed to question the grant's past position.
Could you criminalize the status of homelessness?
Well, I don't think that homelessness is a status like drug addiction, and Robinson only
Well,
stands for
homelessness
that.
is a status. It's the status of not having a home. It's sort of like breathing. I mean, you could say breathing is conduct too, but presumably you would not think that it's okay to criminalize breathing in public. And for a
Regulations,
homeless
which I brought
person
up.
who has no place to go, sleeping in public is kind of like breathing in public.
Critics have argued the Ninth Circuit's ruling has led to spikes in violent crime, drug overdoses, and fires, which has been seen more in the American West than other parts of the country. The justices did express skepticism with the court dictating local rules, with Brett Kavanaugh suggesting concern about federal courts, quote, micromanaging homeless policy. A decision is not expected until June. I'm Chris Daniels reporting.
So it's pretty obvious that the Supreme Court does not want to deal with this stuff. And, you know, the more that I think about it, the more I think about how there really isn't a solution to the problem. If you have, you know, Joe Blow over here camping out on the sidewalk, it doesn't matter what kind of laws or rules or whatever you end up making up. I mean, he still exists, right? They're saying they don't want him to be in public places, right? Them. I'm just saying him just to simplify this, make it easier to understand. If you tell him to move, guess what? He just moves from point A to point B, wherever that may be. He still exists, right? Unless there was a homeless shelter in every city that can house every single homeless person, this will always be an ongoing problem. The Supreme Court, it doesn't matter how many smart people they have there, they will not be able to get a handle on this. They will not be able to figure it out. They know that there's no possible physical solution to the problem, and that's what it's going to take. It's going to take a physical solution, like a physical building that is massive enough to house, like the size of a football stadium in every city, to house all the homeless. I'm not even sure if, you know, a football stadium would house all the homeless in some of these cities. It's just outrageous. It's they've taken over, you know, Los Angeles, San Francisco, hell, Nashville, Atlanta. I mean, anywhere you go, especially in these inner cities, I mean, the numbers are in the thousands and thousands of homeless people, you know, and to say, well, you know, drug use, criminal activity, those are things to address. Sure, that's when the police could get involved, right? But, I mean, some of the stupidity in this, like somebody brings up about fining them. How are you going to fine someone you're going to find someone that's homeless? Fine, F-I-N-E, fine. You're going to fine someone that's homeless who probably has 37 cents in their pocket. So what are you going to do if they don't pay their fine? And do you think they're actually going to show up anywhere to pay this fine? Do you think they might even find their way to wherever they need to go to pay the fine? Do you think they will come up with the money to pay the fine? Now, if you're trying to enforce the fine in some kind of a stronger way, now you're forcing them to commit criminal activity in order to pay the fine, because that's the only way they're going to get enough money to pay the fine. And not only that, but chances are the cops will end up encountering them again, probably right on down the street or around the corner, because they still exist. They still exist. They're still going to be around. Now, homeless people, they don't bother me unless they bother me. Okay? If I walk past homeless people, which I have plenty of times, if they're not jumping out on the sidewalk to try to stop me in my tracks of wherever I'm going and whatever I'm trying to do, as long as they're not doing that, they're fine. Even if they ask for some change or something, I'm not bothered by that, but don't impede my path, because that's where I'm going to feel threatened, right? And I think a lot of other people feel the same way. So as long as you're not trying to impede my path of where I'm trying to go, and you're not trying to stop me in my tracks to almost in a threatening manner ask me for money, then they're not bothering me. Okay? I understand that some of them are criminals, some of them are doing dirty things. If I'm walking past them and they're not doing anything, then it is what it is, right? I can't think anything of them except for the fact that they're homeless and they're wherever they're at because of whatever happened before that day. So, and I have given homeless people money before. I do kind of scope them out just a bit before I decide to give them anything, because sometimes they're a little sketchy. Sometimes you're not sure if they might try to rob you. Some of them might be drunk when they're asking you for money. So that's pretty much a no-go for me. But then again, I have seen, I've seen homeless families where I have gone to, well, the last time I actually remember specifically, I think I went to Taco Bell and picked up like a big box of tacos. It was a whole family. They had like a little girl and a little boy, and I think they might have had a dog, and then the mom and dad. It was like a whole family. And I ran down to Taco Bell and got one of those big taco boxes, and got them all cups of water and stuff with it, and came by and dropped that off. And they were so, I mean, they couldn't have ripped that box open any quicker than they did, and started handing the kids the tacos, and they started opening them up and started smashing on them and stuff. And that made me happy. That made me very, very happy, because I knew that I just gave, just shared a little piece of my heart with people that that really truly needed it. And they weren't, now there are some scammers out there, but these people were not. These people were seriously hurting. There's been other instances also, but just scope them out, and definitely keep your own personal safety in mind first. I know we kind of went way off topic here, but you can't find these people. You can't tell them, you can't be in public places, because there's only two kinds of places to be: public places and private places, like privately owned land, private homes. If they can't be in public, then you're forcing them to go private, and then you can have bigger issues. So they have to be in public places. They have to have a place to go. The Supreme Court doesn't want to deal with this because nobody has the freaking solution, man. Nobody has the solution. I don't either. Like I said, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, hey, they need to build like a football stadium size building in every city, maybe not every city, but a lot of the bigger cities. I mean, they would need like huge, massive government funding, right? We don't have it to take care of the homeless, right? But we have billions and billions and billions of dollars to send overseas to support the foreign wars. Josh Hawley said it best just recently, actually. He said, you know, we're spending all this money funding all these wars and things. Meanwhile, our roads, our bridges, our infrastructure is falling apart, you know. And I add to that we have like a massive homelessness problem. As the borders open and fentanyl's running through and the cartels are controlling a lot of shit that's going on here. And we have a lot of illegals here that are voting, taking jobs, doing a lot of things. America is on fire right now. You know, homelessness is a very important aspect of what's going on here, but we have a lot of problems. Money can solve some of these problems, but we're too busy trying to solve problems overseas, and we're not worried about what's going on right here in America. Thank you all for watching. That's all we got for you tonight. I will see you guys on the next one. Have a good night. Thank you.